So we all know there are two words. One is a progression, that means you are moving forward, and the one is a regression, that means you are moving backward. Now regression testing talks of not the progression, so that we are not moving forward. Somewhere we are dealing with the code. So once we have written the code, we have, during the process of testing, we realize that certain mistakes have been committed. So now this involves the correction in the code. Now this is where regression testing will help us in identifying the course of correction. So if you look at the literal meaning of the word regression, it says a return to a former or less developed state, because you are not progression, you are moving forward. Regression, the word is very simple, very clear, easy to understand, that somewhere we have identified certain faults and then we want to move backward, make appropriate correction and then move forward. So in regression testing, we will do the same thing. So it's a process of retesting the modified part of the software. So means retesting means once the testing has already been done of that portion of the code, and now after modification, we need to retest it again, and ensuring that no new errors have been introduced into the previously tested source code due to this modification. Because it should not happen that once you are doing a modification, then you are introducing new errors into it. Because most of the time, if you look at the human instinct and the human way, it should not happen that we realize a mistake, we revert back, we at the time of correcting the previously identified mistake, deliberately or indeliberately, we should not introduce the new problems or new errors into it, because then this process cycle will keep on going and happening it. So we should be very conscious of when that once we have identified certain flaws, we should only correct those flaws in the source code and not introduce the new flaws intentionally or unintentionally. That should not be done as such. So we should very consciously deal with the coding, because if you will correct one, introduce two, then you will correct two, introduce three, and the cycle will go on. So it's very critical, it should be done. So regression testing tests both the modified source code, which is the new source code now, and the other part of the source code that may get affected by a change. So ripple effect phenomena will be there. So once you are modifying a line of code, should be very conscious that what could be the possible consequences of that particular modification and the entire lines of code which you have written for that particular software. So whatever are the ripple effects, they should be properly countered with, and they should be properly scanned to it. So your correction, one correction should not lead to the more problems in it. That's why something like we call the triggers in databases. Before insert, before delete, after delete. They also help us to keep a track of what consciously you are entering a data into the database. It should not have the more ripple effect into the other part of the database. So modification is a very important process, and it should not be done by the junior developers or the fresh engineers, because once if you are not sure of what all could be the possible consequences of their action, it could result in more problems in the entire software. So only those experienced developers who have got the entire knowledge of the working of the software. Suppose there are 10 classes in it, there are 5 tables in it, there are code written, thousands of line of code spanning across multiple forms and classes. So a junior developer, fresh engineer will not be able to visualize it. Where senior developers or the person who spent 2 to 3 years, who have gone through at least one or two SDLCs, they can realize the importance of it. That the modification, even if it's a single line of code modification, it should not have any ripple effect creation thing on the other lines of the source code, because then again you will have to spend a lot of time in identifying those lines of code which got affected by your action, and then you need to correct all those. So regression testing helps us to serve several purposes, like increase confidence in the correctness of the modified program. Once you have done it, test it, modified it, and then retest it. So now it will help you to increase the confidence that yes, now our source code is fine, because we have designed the test cases which will help us to check that the modified source code is perfectly fine. Locate the errors in the modified program, because once you are doing a modification, you can check for more susceptible and vulnerable errors which might be there in the programs. So not only you correct that, but if you have got certain knowledge or that there are certain more flaws in the program, you can even correct them. So it will help to locate the errors in the modified programs. preserve the quality and reliability of the software because you have done the appropriate modification. So client will be happy, so your project managers will be happy, so software reliability goes up because the clients will now no more face the same problem which they encountered earlier before the modification was done. Ensures the software continued operation is there. So because you have corrected the mistake, you have identified the flaw, you have removed it, and then again the software continuation operation will go on. So the software maintenance activity will resume and then it will go on for years to come. So there is a prominent difference between something called development testing and the regression testing. So if you look at the second column, the development testing, uh, the new test cases are written for because it's a new code that need to be tested up. The new test cases are written for it, but in the regression testing, already available test cases can easily be used, or if need be, they can be modified and reused again. So, but development testing is the first code has been done, so you have to write a new test cases for it. So, second point, if we look at into it, all the portion of source code are stringently and properly tested during the development testing phases, and the regression testing only we need to test the specified code which has been modified. So we say only updated or modified portion of the source code is tested. So let there be a program with that 1000 lines of code. So if you're carrying out a modification only in the, let's say, line of code 501 to 510, so owner says that we should properly test this portion of the code first. And thereafter, yes, maybe our consequent action can have a ripple effect to other lines of code, then we can test even that. First of all, we should properly test only the modified portion of the source code. So development testing will be performed once in the lifetime of the softwares, but in the case of regression, it is can be performed one time, two time, three time, or maybe nth number. There is no upper limit on the number of time the testing can be performed. In the development testing, performed under the pressure of the release date because the client has set the release date that I would like to have the delivery of the software by, let's say, 1st November or 1st December, and there will be a pressure on the entire team, the verticals which are there in the company, they will be feeling a pressure to meet the target for the delivery date, the release date. But regression testing is always performed in the crisis situation and under the great time constant, because if the bug has been detected, now it need to be modified, it need to be corrected ASAP, as soon as possible, not ASAP as slow as possible. So here ASAP has a different meaning as compared to the, it should be as fast as possible, not as slow as possible. Because the client has detected or maybe the development team has detected, it should be immediately bugged out, it should be immediately be corrected. In the development testing, separate allocation of the budget and time is being done because it's being done, designed, developed, and deployed for the very first time. So separate allocation of the budget will be there. But in the regression testing, most of the time there is practically no time and generally no separate budget allocation is there for the team. So within the same budget constraints, you will have to carry out the task of the remodification, the remodulation, or the redesigning of the those portions of the code. So in development testing, it's all time and effort consuming. Where in the regression testing, not much time and effort is consuming, but yes, it damages the quality and the reliability of the software. Because if the error still remain there in the software, then it will definitely erode the quality and reliability of the software. So it's not about the time and the effort, it is more about the keeping the credibility of the software live for as long as possible, for multiple years. So these are different phases how it goes through. So if you look at the phases, first of all, if you look at the, we have got one phase will lead to another, to third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. The failure of the program and the generation of the failure report, that's the first phase. If it has been done, then the debugging of the source code will start. Once the debugging start, just like we place a breakpoint in the source code, that's how we typically do the debugging task. We put a red color on it, then go into the debugging mode, press F5, Control F5, Alt F5, F9, depending on which kind of IDE you are using, and then start scanning to each and every line of code. Then you'll have a small dialog box that will show the values which the variable is receiving when you're debugging your lines of the code. So it's very important that identification of the fault in the source code is done. If it is done, it will lead to the source code modification, because now once you have identified, So now it will lead to the source code modification. Both new and old program will be different. Yes, true, that is true, because but most of the time it is already in the existing programs where the modification is being done. Now once that has been done, then the selection of the test cases from the existing test suites to ensure correctness of the modification. So you need to identify the test cases which can be run, which can be deployed again to check that the source code which has been modified, now is it performing the task to the expectation or not, or are there still flaws in it. So we need to perform the retesting again to ensure the correctness using selected test cases, and maybe the new test cases maybe need to be designed to test the modified source code, or maybe existing test cases can be used to check for the source code. Now that depends upon the scope of an application, the purpose of an application, and the nature of the application. So maybe the old test cases can serve the job, or maybe the testing team has to design the new test cases for the modified portion of the source code. But regression testing only deals with the modification. If there are no modification in the source code, you don't require regression testing. As simple as that. However, if there are modifications, subsequent modification, maybe from 1 year to 2 year or 3 years, so we need to perform the regression testing multiple number of the time. Now let us take an example for it. How does it look like? Okay, that code will take later. Let's come to the test case selection first. Now there are three choices for us. Either we select all test cases, or we randomly select the test cases, or we do a select modification traversing all the test cases. So if we randomly select the test cases, we may select the test case randomly to reduce the size of the test suite. So there are collection of, now test suite is already a collection of test cases, so which are already available for you. You can randomly select one of them or many of them test cases which are already available at your disposal, and we decide on how many test cases are required to be selected depending on both the time as well as the available resources. So maybe you can randomly select one test case which can do the job for you after the source code has been modified, or you may test multiple of them, let's 4 or 6 or 8, to check for the validity or the correctness of the modified source code. Another option, if you got a large amount of time, good amount of team, and budget is not a constraint, then we say select all the test cases. So we say this is the simplest technique where we do not want to take any risk, because the quality and the reliability and the credibility of the company is at the stake. So we want to run all the test cases for any change in the program. So you can modify the, let's say 555 line of code, or maybe 600 lines of code. Only 1 or 2 lines of code have been modified. Then also you run all the test cases which are checking for the correctness of all the lines of code within the program. So it all depends upon the time and the budget constraints available with the company. The third is a select modification traversing test cases. So we select only those test cases that execute the modified portion of the program and the portion which is affected by the modifications. Other test cases are usually discarded in this case. So again, this choice has to be taken up by the testing team, that which strategy is useful for them during the task of the regression testing. They may select all, they may select some, they may select on the random basis. So this choice has to be done by them. And also the budget constraint, the time available for the team. Now the next topic talks about the selection of the test cases. So once you have identified this broad category, then the possible question which the team has to answer is, do we want to use the existing test suite for regression testing? And most of the time the team will say yes, because nobody wants to spend the time again for design and development of the new testing technique. And how we should select an appropriate number of test cases for a failure. Now that's again the conscious decision has to be taken, that which is the appropriate number which should be chosen to select the test cases, because we need to identify the success and we also focus on failures, that what are the inputs which can be given where the software can fail. So that inputs have to be identified to check for the points where software can fail in the real-time scenario. So the range can be from one test case to a complete set or the complete package of all the test cases which have been designed for that particular portion of the code of the software. So a regression test case selection technique may help us to do this selection process. So it brings to the same point that you may design a new test case for a modified source code, or you may choose the already available set of test cases. You may choose all of them, or you may randomly choose only few of them. So that again the question has to be answered by the team themselves. That what is the total time and the budget they have got available to do this task. Now let's take an example how this thing relate to reality. So we have got two portions of the source code. We'll discuss the first portion here. So main function, the line number 1, then curly braces, opening of the main function, then the line number 3 we declare variables a, b, x, y, z. Then we expect the input to flow in from the user. So percentage d, the value is received into a variable a and b. Then a and b are added. The result is stored into variable x. Then the product of a and b is done. Then the result is stored in the y. Now we apply the if condition. We check for the value. So we check if x is greater than or equal to y, then do this job and store the value into the z. Else we said carry out the, instead of division, carry out the multiplication of x and y and store the value into the z, and then we print the value of the z. So this is the original code. Now this was the code which was written by the programmer. Now there is a line number 6 where multiplication has been done, and instead of multiplication the subtraction was to be performed in reality. So this is the second part of the modified, which shows the modified source code. The all code remains same, all 14 lines of code. Only the change has been done in the line number 6, where instead of multiplication operation, we use a subtraction, where we can subtract the value of the variable b from the value of the variable a and store the result into a y. All of the line of code are exactly the same. So again, now it depends upon the team that maybe they can use the same test case, or maybe they can uh, design the new test cases. So it all depends upon the team how they will check for this code. Now in this code, if you see, the modified is line number is 6, where a multiply b is replaced by a minus b. And all the 4 test cases or test suite execute this modified line set. So here this is our test suite. Test suite is a collection of test cases. So serial number, if you look 1, 2, 3, 4, the inputs are the value which is being given for variable a and b are 2, 1, 1, 1, 3, 2, 3 and 3. And this is what the execution history shows us. So these are the possible output we get after the values have been input for the variable a and b. So these are a set of test cases available for us. Now either we can use the same test cases and rerun them, or we can design our new test cases and then rerun and recheck that whether now we are getting the correct output or not. Now in this kind of code test case 2, if you see, we may decide to execute all the 4 tests for the modified program. So again, choices on us. We may try to execute all the 4 tests for the modified program. But there's something specific in test case 2. If we do so, test case 2 with inputs a is equal to 1 and b is equal to 1 will give us a divide by 0 problem. So again, when we are designing a test case, we should be very conscious that when we're inputting our values, what is the correct sequence of values, and if there's such a problem that arises, a divide by 0 problem, then the proper exception handling has to be done within that particular programming language code. C, C++, Java, here it is on C, so we need to check it with the help of if conditions that program does not fall flat, it does not collapses, it does not get breakdown. Now C by default does not provide support for exception handling, but C++, Java, C#, .NET, almost all the further modern day programming languages, the 5 GL generation languages, 5th generation languages, they all provide support for these exception handling features. So we need to handle the code, we need to write the code in such a manner that the software should not fail in the real-time scenario. Proper exception handling need to be done, so the user is thrown an exception, user correct it and then carry on with the software. Software should not get closed down abruptly. No abnormal termination should take place. Now what effort we can apply to reduce the number of test cases, because the test cases slowly and gradually can increase a lot over a period of time. Because if you have already seen the structural testing technique, the functional testing technique, so many test techniques are there, and every technique has its own mechanism with how you test for the code. So overall objective should be how to reduce the number of test cases for a given software. So that it takes us to a point called minimization. So we're not saying elimination, the word is minimization. How to reduce it down so that the testing team as well as development team can work in sync with each other and not blame each other for the code which is being written by the development team. So the aim here is to find the redundant test cases. There could be some test cases which are very similar in nature. When the testing team has to take a decision, they have to find out those test cases which almost perform a similar like operations. So if they're working is almost 90-95% same, so one of the test cases can be removed and the other test cases can do the same job. So what is a redundant test case or what is a RTC? A redundant test case is one which achieves an objective which has already been achieved by another similar lookalike test case. So the functionality of both the test cases by and large similar in nature. So one of them can be done away with and the other can be used and carried forward. So objective should be the proper. Now when you are removing this already defined test case, it should not happen that certain anomalies are committed. So minimization involves certain very conscious decisions. A thoughtful process has to be done. So objective should be that source code coverage should still be there, requirement coverage should be met, variable coverage, all the variables should still be covered within my program. It should not be left out during the process of minimization of test cases. Branch coverage, all the if condition, while, do while, for, switch case, they should still be covered properly. Nesting, whichever has been done in a program, they should still be scan and traverse through. And specific lines of code source coverage should be dealt with. So minimization should not compromise on the quality of the software. So because the reliability and the credibility can go down, it can lead to the erosion. So minimization is good, but it should not compromise the quality. That's the fundamental line here. So and all these objectives shall still be met with. Proper source code coverage should still be there, all the requirements should be there, all the clients have been specified, all the variable coverage, branch coverage should still all be covered. There should not be any line of code which is still missed out and which is not covered during the process of testing. So minimization technique may further reduce the size of the selected test cases based on some criteria. Now this criteria again has to be decided by the design testing team. And we should always remember that any type of minimization is risky and may omit some fault revealing test cases. So when you're doing it, so minimization has to be very thoughtful, conscious decision, and it should not lead to more complications because the minimization has to be. It could be risky because some of the if you are dropping certain test cases, it may happen that certain lines of code will now may not be covered with the remaining leftover test cases. So it can be a risky and not always risky all the time, but yes, it should be a thoughtful decision, conscious decision when we are going for the minimization process. Now, we have covered quite a lot theory. We will do certain lab work based on the two tools. First, based on the test ng tool. So we'll have use the ng software for two purposes. First of all, how to do the test cases, how to run the test cases for file handling, and then we go for the database testing as discussed earlier during the lecture, so that we can use this tool to write the test case for the program wherein the front end and the back end connectivity can be done.